Again, and welcome to the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters is right here. I am Mike Galetta, aka Hamilton Mike, along with my partner Brian the Ranger Attar, bringing you another, do I have to say it, another absolutely freaking, monster special that you're going to just freaking love. You're going to love it. Anyway, to finish out our 32 fans, 32 NFL teams, we are going to do your Tennessee Titans. That's right. Let's talk Titans. Brian, stat me. Let's go.
Tennessee Titans,
Yep.
Not a great year last year.
No.
3-13, which was good enough for dead last in the AFC South. Clearly not a playoff team. Offensively, they were very consistently bad. 25th on the ground, 25th through the air. Defensively, 18th against the run, but a surprising 7th against the pass.
Yep.
In the draft, they traded down. They ended up getting Jack Conklin, the offensive tackle from Michigan State, 8th overall.
Yep.
Made a couple of offseason additions. They added former Eagle and Cowboy DeMarco Murray to their running back stable, and receiver Rashard Matthews over from Miami.
Yep.
They finished with the worst record in football, but I think as a Titans fan, you kind of thought that was probably going to be the case, at least a bottom 5 team, and they have to be really happy with what they saw out of Marcus Mariota, their 2nd overall pick from a year ago. Traded the #1 pick down with the Rams, a huge deal, and that's going to really help them speed up that rebuild in a big way. DeMarco Murray came from Philadelphia. They probably couldn't wait to get rid of him.
Another Philadelphia
guy. Another Eagle. Again, they also added running back Derrick Henry in the draft, who, I wanted, honestly, for the Cowboys.
That's a good pick. That's definitely a
great pick. I think he's going to do very, very well. Yep. Might be the starter at some point this season. The Titans' offense, though, is a little better suited to suit Murray's style, so I think he's motivated to prove that he's not done. He might be done, but he's motivated to prove that he's not done, trying to be the guy he was in Dallas in 2014. But whoever's going to run behind that offensive line is going to have the help of Jack Conklin, the early pick that they had in the 1st round. But it's all about Mariota's development. It's key to their future. They're building around him. They're in great position to help him, too, with all the picks they acquired from that Rams deal. And Mike Mularkey's going to enter his 1st season as the full-time head coach over in Tennessee. So, Mike, I'm going to take you back a year. As the Bucs fan that you are.
That's right.
The top of that draft, there was Jameis Winston, and there was Marcus Mariota. Now, I know that you have wanted Jameis Winston, but
yes.
I know that you probably have some perspective on Mariota, having scouted him a little bit.
Yeah.
Did he progress in his 1st season the way you thought he would?
Actually, it's funny you say that, because I was clamoring for Marcus Mariota.
Were you?
Yeah, only because of the whole Jameis Winston off-field issues that he had going on. I was afraid he was going to fall into that trap, but I wanted Mariota. You look at Jameis Winston now in Tampa, you look at Mariota. I think Mariota's coming along. I mean, this is an offense in Tennessee. You got to understand it was been bad for years. I mean, they haven't been that really good since the Super Bowl years that they went and played the Rams. They've kind of shuffled the deck a little here. Got DeMarco Murray, like we said, Derrick Henry, and I saw Matt Castle still on the roster. How is this guy still in the league? Anyway, and on another note, Mariota, I think is.
I know him very well from last year.
Yeah, it's terrible. Marcus Mariota is coming along. I think it's just going to be a little bit more time. Are they going to be good this year? I think they'll be better than last year. And to get back to your other question, I think Mariota is progressing along. Now, we get to the running back situation. I made fun of DeMarco Murray ending up in Tennessee. I think it's funny that DeMarco Murray not only ended up there, is that they ended up taking Derrick Henry. It's a solid pick, but you got 2 running backs now with rotating double action now. I think it's a solid move.
Well, the way the NFL is going, I mean, you really don't see too many teams that have one guy. And
Correct.
those of you who play fantasy football know that. That's why the guys that are those #1 guys with nobody behind them tend to go much higher in those drafts.
Yep.
I gotta tell you, I've seen a lot of DeMarco Murray in my time. I think Derrick Henry's a fantastic pick, and I think he's better than DeMarco Murray. I think he's going to supplant DeMarco Murray at some point this season because of how hard he runs. Yep. Great preseason. I mean, you gotta love what you see out of him. He's a young guy they're going to build around. I think Murray's just keeping the seat warm.
Yeah.
But somebody on their offense you don't hear a lot about is Delanie Walker, a guy who was, great year last year, and a guy that Mariota really leaned on. And he's a guy, obviously, again, your fantasy draft's going higher this year as a result. I expect another big year out of Delanie Walker for sure, especially because not a lot of talent on the outside.
No, but Delanie Walker has got a couple injuries in the last year, which made them pick up Fasano this year, free agent. But yeah, I agree with you. Delanie Walker's definitely a solid tight end. People don't really pick him up in fantasy because of the whole Tennessee thing. But you know what? He's very underrated in what he does. He definitely gives Mariota another weapon out there. And we talked about Matthews coming over from Miami. Matthews hasn't had a good preseason. He's 4th on the depth chart right now. Obviously they have Kendall Wright, which is a solid receiver, but and Sharp obviously,
I like what I've seen of Tajay Sharp.
Yeah, Tajay Sharp
nice player there.
Very, very good preseason. As for the Tennessee defense, I think they'll take a step up this year. Are they going to be top 5? No. Are they going to be mid-pack? I think Tennessee has a shot at being mid-pack. When we say mid-pack, I'm talking 16, 17 defense in the league. And for them, that's a step up. I mean, this is a defense that really hasn't shown anything, but, you know, with the addition of Arakpo from Washington, they've been blasé. They've just been another defense out there that just is on the way up. I think they're headed in the right direction.
Well, I think part of their problem is, you know, it just seems like there's a coaching rotation. Like, you're just never consistency there. So
exactly.
Whenever you keep changing the leadership, you're going to keep changing, you know, the play calling, the scheme, the whole bit. You know, I think they will be better. And, you know, they're in a division that really is kind of evolving around them. It used to be just the Colts and everybody else. I mean, the Texans have been very good for a number of years. You know, we both like Jacksonville based on the preview there. So I think it's going to be really, really, really difficult to see them come out of the basement of that division. But I think that long term, that's going to be okay. They're building a team through the draft. And when some of these teams, maybe not Jacksonville, but, you know, when a team like Indianapolis kind of fades a little bit, or a team like even Houston, they're going to be ready to take the role if they continue to draft well. And I think, like I said, a lot of picks they've been making. I mean, you got to hit some of these picks.
They better hope Indianapolis doesn't fade with Andrew Luck in there.
Yeah,
they're really screwed if that happens.
But I mean, I do think you're going to see them in the top 5 of the draft again next year. But again, you're building towards the future, and that's okay.
I mean, you look at their schedule, and you know, obviously starting out the season, they don't have a favorable schedule. They open up home against Minnesota. They go to Detroit, which is definitely a winnable game for them, but then they come home for Oakland, and then they go on the road for Houston. So there's 3 out of 4 games there. You're probably looking at losses. I mean, they're going to have to step up really out of their element, and like they say in the Wedding Ringer, if anybody knows it, I want to make you comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's what they got to do. They have to be uncomfortable, and they have to play, you know, some of their best games. And you know, their schedule doesn't allow them to have any cakewalks here.
No, and they're not going to win a lot of games.
No.
6 of their last 7. You know what? I'll give you the Bears too. Their last 7 games: home to Green Bay, at Indianapolis, at Chicago, bye week, hosting Denver, at Kansas City, at Jacksonville, home to Houston.
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
I don't know if there's a win in there. I really don't.
Yeah.
You know what the most interesting game is to be on the schedule, Mike? Week 6, when they host the Cleveland Browns. Because you know what? They probably need to lose that game. If they can lose that game, they're going to be in a much better position to have a high pick in the draft.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, you look at this team, they're all about halfway through the season. They get to that Jacksonville game in Week 8, and they're not in good shape. You know, it's going to be all downhill from there, because then they got the Chargers on the road, and like you said, they got Death Man's Row with Green Bay and all those teams. I mean, this is a team that, we want to say is on the way up, but you got to take a step back, take 2 forward, and they're definitely going to have to do that this year. My own opinion, I think Tennessee had 4 to 5 wins this year. I want to say on the upside 5 wins. You want to go over 5. I mean, that's a big
they better win them early, Mike. That's a schedule, man. I mean, their home games even. I mean,
the back end of a lot of schedules this year are murderer's row for a lot of people. I mean, that's just how they set it up this year.
Yeah.
But no, we will see. So that's all the time we have for the Tennessee Titans today. Keep an eye out. We got some good stuff coming on.
Make sure you're following us on social media, at Sportsbox Show on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and the YouTube channels where you really need to be to make sure you get all our new content.
Oh, you got to be there. If you're not there, you're missing the boat here. So remember, at Sportsbox, the only opinion that matters.
It's right here.
It's right here, folks. Keep an eye out. See you.
Don't forget to subscribe.